home page and it wasn't complete. So if we go to localhost or 8080, this is what we're looking at. A bunch of placeholder text. All right, so we want to get this looking like this for today. And I got the images. So we've got these two, and they're in Slack already. I posted them in general. There they are. You just download those real quick. And these images have to go in the public directory that we set up so we can access them. So I'm just going to call them logo and background. So that's that. Cool, we got it side by side. All right, so for the background, special property for background and in CSS, and it would be URL, and then just not sure if this needs quotes or not. Yep. Cool. So that's pretty much how that works. And we need to style it like this. So I'm going to have this image just for reference over here. I forgot what I did to this. Looks like I faded it a ton. I'm actually going to look at what I did. I'm going to log into Figma real quick. Okay. Well, I just set it to 10% opacity. And that. Oh yeah, because the images. All right. For a background image, background repeat. So that just repeats the background. We have to scroll. I don't think we have a scroll bar. No, we don't. I'm not sure how we do this. We'd probably just put a effect on it. We don't want to do this because this would make the opacity of our entire site different, or would it? Yeah, that's not too good. I just want the background to be opaque. All right, this is a good way to do it. So the before, this is the before, I forgot how to say it. Pseudo selector, I guess. So let's do HTML : before content that. So this is if you want to have something immediately before or after your element, but we're going to use this to just style the background itself. Might be because we need to set the width and height. No, it says 0, 0. The issue right here is because the size of the before element is 0 by 0, which is an issue if we're doing a background. Do we want to do that? All right, so it looks like position absolute fixed that. The only issue is that it's showing up above the header. So we should probably modify the Z index. So this modifies it in the Z plane, so depth. The index of -1 works there. All right. So we're just gonna, you can copy this if you want, but I'm just gonna retype it. So the real fix was position absolute. We still need the width to be 100% and the height to be 100% as well. And the Z index should be -1. And it's good practice to set the top and left to 0 for position absolute elements. Yep.
For the width and height, is that 100% of the image or 100% of the screen size of the person?
It's 100% of the parent element, but since the HTML element is the overall parent, it would be the screen size. Yeah. Okay. But it's normally the parent. So that's how we get that. Ooh, it stops though. Oh, yikes. Yes, is 100% of the screen size. I mean, you could just do this. That's not. Yeah, that just makes it go on forever. No, that's not going to help us. I did 100 VH right there. It's very strange to me that this doesn't. I wonder if we change this to the body before. To me, that's very strange. So do that. HTML pseudo before height. This probably isn't going to get us what we want. No, it won't. Oh well. I'll figure that out later. I know this seems really like hand wavy, but I don't want to like waste a ton of time just on that. Okay, so let's get the logo up here and then the text. What do we have? About projects, calendars, calendar videos. All right, so we'd edit the header.ejs. The header, we have nothing in it. I'm gonna make a new div for the logo. And we're gonna have a source of /logo.png. So the slash right here means it's an absolute path, meaning that we go to the root of, so like if we were in like slash this, slash that, the root's just this. And if we didn't do that, it would just do like logo.png and it'd look for it there. That's a relative path, and that's not what we want. So we're probably gonna have to style this as well. Yeah, it's way too big. Let's try setting the height of the logo div to be 100%. Yeah, so you can actually see this here. The height of the logo is 100%, and it's bound to its parent.
Cool.
But it doesn't change the height of the image. So let's change the height of this to 100%. This doesn't look too good to me. Maybe 80%. What's the size of the logo? 200. Why does it look so bad? I'm probably sampling it down too much. I guess we'll leave it like that. And so we could get, oh, I thought we could get rid of that. Oh, the reason we have to have this is because if we don't have the height of this to be 100, the height of this will be 100%, and it takes after its parent element, which is that big. So you have to have them both be 100%. So I'm just going to do an inline style because I'm lazy. Also over here. I don't think I've gone over this before. So an inline style is just normal CSS selectors and everything, but it's inside of this style equals. So you could write multiple styles. So like you could have height 100, width 50 pixels. They have to be separated by semicolons, but it's the same as you have it's the same as normal CSS. It's just like pretending you have the selector on this element already. So that's the logo. I want to have another, I don't like how this is so close to the left. And it's going to be the same way on the right. So I'm going to create another div. Just a normal div for now. Another inline style. I'm going to say margin 0 auto. And if you remember, this centers block, display block elements. So this will center the div. And I'll set the width to 80%. I think that's a good number. Or did I miss something? Okay, so we need to set the height of that as well. I wonder if we just change the display type if we can get away with it. I guess not. I feel like it should be like 90. Yeah, that looks good to me. 90%, and then I'm going to also change the height to be 100% right there. There we go. Now we want the about projects calendar video. So there's two ways to do navigations like that. Generally, the two ways that you'll see on any modern site today are flexboxes and lists. Lists are kind of like the old school way to do it, and flexboxes are newer. They're really cool though. So, and they make it all really easy. So we're gonna do a flexbox. We're gonna set that to be a nav. Create our own ID right here. This is an empty link, by the way, just a hash. And we want to do about projects calendar videos. About projects calendar videos. And we'll set these up to point to the correct place later, but for now, they'll just click them and they won't do anything. But if you get rid of it, you won't be able to click them. That's going to be a normal div, so it's going to have its own line. So we want this to be display flex. This logo is taking up too much room. I mean, autos. Oh, wait, that's for the div. Oh, it's the display type of the logo div. If we change it to, so block elements by default take up all the space. And right now, every div is by default a block element. So let's do inline block. So now it doesn't take up as much space. And this is also a, oh wait, that's a flexbox. Yeah, we do want to change it to a flexbox anyways. So how do we get that over there? Looks like flexbox won't quite work here. We changed this to a flexbox as well. Yeah, that fixes it. Flexboxes fix a lot of things. I guess I'll just leave it as this being display flex. I kind of like that. So the reason that this being display flex fixes everything is this flexboxes are kind of magical, and they kind of organize the children elements for them. So this organizes the children elements like that. I mean, I can't really pinpoint it like on an exact super precise reason, but yeah, flexboxes automatically align things so that they kind of fit. All right, so this is a display flex box. Right, so I want to add some lines to our styles.css. So, I mean, at this point, this has a lot of CSS. Normally, if you write this much inline CSS, you kind of want to move that into your styles.css. But we're going to do that later. Not something I want to worry about right now. So let's work on the nav. We want this to be display flex. And then let's select all the links inside of the nav. So this space right here is how you select the elements inside elements. So this selector means we're selecting the nav div, and we're selecting all the links inside of the nav div. And we're just going to change them to not be blue and be like a normal color and stuff. So text decoration none to get rid of the underline. I should be doing this over here actually. Okay. Now we gotta choose a color. I think I chose like not pure black. It kind of looks pure black though. Let's see what I did. Yeah, this isn't pure black. This is a hex code for the color, and black is all zeros. So just to go over like hex super briefly, these two elements are these two numbers are the red component, so 24, and since hex is base 16, you'd multiply the 2 by 16 and then add 4, so it'd be 32, 36 out of 256. And this is so it's RGB. So you can see the blue is larger than the others, so it's kind of like a really dark blue. Yeah, you can hardly even tell. All right, then we want to add some margin just to kind of space everything out. Margin, say 10. I'm going to space them out horizontally, not vertically. So I'm just going to do that. Font weight bold. We only have a bold font, remember, because we got our fonts off of Google. So this right here, this line of code right here, this is the weight 400 and 700. 400 is normal weight, which is normal font, and 700 is bold. So that's that. Font size, too big. That'll do. So let's just copy that. Okay, so now how do we bring this down? This is where the magical flexbox comes in. So you have justified content, which is how you align items horizontally by default, I believe. Yeah. Then you have align. Oops, it's align items and justify items. Where is it justify? Yeah, it's justify items. For Flexbox, they're like all. It's kind of weird how align items only works when it's on a Flexbox. Like you have a bunch of different CSS selectors that only work conditional, like depending on the display type. But that's how it is. So it's align items to center vertically and justify items to center horizontally. Align items center. Wait. Oh, I have this at the wrong place. I was selecting the A tag, and since the links can't align them like themselves. All right, so that's kind of that. Let's do nav a hover. So this is when you hover on them, how are they going to behave? Remember, we're selecting all the links inside of the nav. So this is just going to be how they're going to change. That's a hex code for red. I like F33 though. Like I know exactly what it is. Yeah, it's just really bright red, I guess. Okay. That's that. Not quite as spaced out as we wanted it to be. Well, this logo is really big too. Oh, but then it doesn't get centered. Well, I do like height 80 because then I can make these guys smaller. Sure, let's go with that. I guess I'll take this time to ask, are there any questions on what I did, what I went over?
I had a question about the flexbox
Yeah,
function in CSS.
sure.
So can you show me how that works?
What do you mean?
So I want to see the difference between flex display and no flex.
Okay, so like if I just got rid of this,
Yeah.
so if I got rid of this, this would change to display block, and it'd be
Hmm.
like that. So the only difference is that this align item center doesn't get affected. But you also have to remember that display block items normally take up the whole line, and that would normally push it to the next line. So why isn't it on the next line? It's because it's inside of a flex box. So if you did that, then you'd see that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I guess display flex also does the same thing as display block where it needs its own line. I guess to show you the difference for that as well. So you can see I got rid of the display flex on the parent element. And this is still display flex, but if I change it to inline block, it won't take up the whole screen. So it only takes up the amount of content that it needs to take up. And since this isn't the only issue is that this is also display block, so it won't, this logo div is also display block, so it takes up its whole own line as well. So if we change that to display inline block, it'll take up the space it needs to. So that's another way to get kind of the same thing done. The only difference is that these links aren't centered vertically. And that's very hard to do without Flexbox. And then you have to kind of do this display flex on the parent. So that's that. Another cool thing about Flexbox is you can you can space your content how you want to. So say I don't like how there's this room here. You can see that our div is this big, but it's not taking up all the space. Say I want the navigation to be all the way on the right, like as far as it can go. You can do justify content space between. Then it'll take advantage of all the space it has. So you can see there's now a space between the logo and the nav. So that's some cool stuff you can do with Flexbox. There's a great site for learning everything about Flexboxes, and it's this right here. It's the CSS Tricks Flexbox. It shows everything very visually on what every property does. This is like ordering things, flex direction. You could have it, like we could very easily flip this so that videos is first with this kind of flex direction. Yeah, and this is what we just did. We did space between. If we change it to center, it would bring them to the center and leave space on the left and right. Flex start is the default. You change it to flex end. And yeah, that good stuff. Any other questions? Oh, I have to add that. I actually did like the space between, so I'm going to add that. Okay, no other questions. Coolio. One of the last things I want to do is center this vertically. Now, the easy way to do this, like we just talked about, is the flex box. But there is another way. It's not very cool though. So it's required that the parent element is position relative, so that the child element, the element that you want vertically centered, is position absolute. And you set the top to -50%, so it sets it like that. And transform translate y -50. Oh, I messed that up. This is negative. This is -50%, and this is 50%. So you can see that that is now centered on that. I think I'm going to put this in the code just because, I mean, like, this isn't easier than using a flexbox, but it's something. So the thing was, we did position relative, and that made it so that when we did position absolute here, it was relative to this element instead of the page as a whole. Then we set the top to 50%. That brings it down, and we set transform to -50%. So the top being 50%, that is 50% of the relative to the parent element, and transform -y is relative to itself, so half of its width, if that makes sense, or height. All right, so I'm gonna go over that, copy that. Oh shoot, this is all inline. We can fix that later. We can fix that later. I'm doing inline styles. I like to do this where I get rid of the space between the colon and just so it's visually easier. This is position absolute. This was position relative. Okay. So I guess now is a good time to see if we can fix this. HTML before. These all look like bad leads, but we'll go for it. Oh, I guess one thing we can do is we could change this to position fixed. Kind of like that, actually. Not sure how you guys feel about it, but that fixes the problem. I'm just going to do that right there for now. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for you guys today. I guess, did you guys have any last questions? Well, I got to take care of something.
I did have a question for the general class, or not class, this is a club, about the hackathon, because I saw the event was happening tonight. Is it happening tonight?
It's open for a full week, so until the next, yeah, so we know you guys are busy and stuff, so like we giving you guys like a full week. And how it works is every time you view a question, it'll start a timer. And this is just for if there's like a tie or anything. So what happens is it'll start a question as soon as you view it. and then it'll like keep track of that and then tell us how it is. But yeah, you're free to do it whenever you want. We recommend like just sitting down and doing it with one go because like they kind of like build up and it'll be easier that way. But yeah, does that kind of answer?
Gotcha. So I just made my HackerRank account. Where do I find? Well, I see the link.
Yeah, there should be a link in the chat.
Oh, not that last one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I signed up for the actual event, but I'm just looking for the link to get to the actual like challenges.
Oh yeah, so it should be that. And if you say enter, whatever, enter here. I can share my screen.
After you click enter contest,
Yeah.
it should go through.
Yeah. So if you're on the screen, that's the one that Ahmed linked. If you say enter contest, you'll see these ones. These are the challenges. So for example, you'll go here. Actually, you'll see like solve challenge. It'll be here, but if you need to try again, and then you'll read through what it says. So for example, here is a sample line of code that can be executed in Python, right? Hello, you start a string. So you're storing in a string here and you're printing it out. There's no input for this, but all you have to do is say print hello world, which is easy, right? So you'll do it here and then submit your code. You can run it to see what it'll do, but when you submit your code, it turns it in.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so like, you're able to run it.
All right. You did not pass the test.
Yeah, so
Wrong answer.
I'm very behind now on the leaderboard.
And the skill level for these questions are very low. We set them almost all to easy.
Yeah.
Even if with like C200 level coding, like you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, we're doing this because this is our first one, so we want you guys' feedback. We did them pretty easy. The last one's the hardest one, but we feel like you guys should be able to do it. We were able to do them. So yeah, and now there is like discussions in here. So if you guys are having troubles, you can like have like a discussion there. But as we said, you guys are able to work in groups, and if you want, we can split them up right now. I don't know if you guys want groups or solo. The questions are kind of easy, I say. Anything? If not, you guys are just able to do it by yourself. And use that discussion and our Slack too. Anything else?
I think that'd be a good idea to like use the discussion to talk with each other. Because I feel like challenges don't really warrant like group work or anything. Like if it's just like printing like hello world and stuff like that. But then again, like validating credit card numbers, I don't know how hard that one's gonna be.
So as you read through it, it's not like actually validating a number. It's just like you have to do a certain parameters, and they'll tell you about like which one should be valid and which one should not be, and they're going to input it, and then you have to like create a function that basically reads it. It'll be interesting.
What did you post, Steven?
That was like that's for what to do for the hello world.
I think that's like a super complicated way to print hello world.
Yeah, it is. Nah, super easy. Yeah.
Go to the 8th letter of the alphabet, then go back to the third. Okay, coolio.
Yeah, but if you guys have any questions, I can